Welcome to Whole Team Eats Podcast, a 24/8 media production. Ever wonder who trains your favorite athlete? Join Tim Miller as he takes a look at the behind-the-scenes training of professional and collegiate athletes. Tim connects with trainers, athletes, and others in the sports community to share their stories. This podcast is dedicated to highlighting the work of athletes and trainers to inspire action and build community.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to an all-new episode of Whole Team Eats Podcast, presented by our friends at Turfblox. This is episode 1, season 1. I'm your host, Tim Miller, and on this show, I sit down with Greg Garrett of Level40 Performance Center. Greg started out with the dream of playing football, and over time, started to focus more on training, which he eventually grew into the business it is today. Greg is located in King of Prussia outside of Philadelphia and trains several notable athletes, including Brandon Graham, Miles Sanders, Darius Slay, Kyle Pitts, and Shaka Toney in the NFL, NBA champ Kyle Lowry and Cam Reddish in the NBA, and WBC, WBO boxing champ Stefan Fulton Jr. On the show, we talk about Greg's journey from working at a high school to learning how to run a successful training business for hundreds of athletes. The road hasn't always been easy for Greg, but his resilience and never out of the fight attitude is what allowed him to become the trainer he is today. This show is made possible by our presenting sponsor, Turfblox. Trusted by elite trainers and professional athletes around the country, Turfblox are becoming one of the most versatile training tools available by bridging the gap between the gym and playing field. From general athletic performance to sports-specific positional training, Turfblox are the way to take your game to the next level. Visit www.turfblox.com to see how they're changing the game from the ground up. Our guest, Greg Garrett, has recently added Turfblox to his gym. It is a versatile product that improves foot and ankle strength and develops safer movement patterns to take his athlete's game to the next level. It's my pleasure to introduce Greg Garrett, who trains several professional and collegiate athletes and is the founder of Level40 Training. Greg, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you on. With the NFL Combine coming up, I know you've been extremely busy with all of your collegiate guys. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit of an idea of the training schedule that you have them on and some of the successes or achievements that you've had with players and their testing results?
All right. Well, this year we ran our combine a little bit different from what we typically run. So we had a full 8-hour schedule for those guys. So 7 in the morning, they would come in, they would get their breakfast. By 7:20, they would do mobility stretching. 8 o'clock hit, then we would do, our combine drills from, depending on what day it was 40, the 40-yard dash. We concentrated on a 10-yard split. Then we went into, another day would be the 5-10-5, the L drill, and your vertical and your broad jump. So those are the skills that happen from about 8 a.m. to about 10:30 a.m. Then running from 10:30, they got, a mini stretch. And then, then 11 o'clock, they went inside to our massage therapist and got a 10-minute flush. Plus we put on the Normatec pants. At 12 o'clock, they got their lunch. They get an hour break. 1 o'clock, they get their second workout, which just entails the weight room. Depending on what combine drill that we was actually doing, the weight room went along with that. So it went from 1 to like 2:30. Then from 2:30 to 3:30, they did skills. So if you was a D-back, you was working with, our D-back specialist. We had a couple linemen this year, so we called Jyree Evans. They played for the Saints, Hall of Famer, one of the top, tackle guys that was out there in the game. So we had a lot of work for these guys to do. So it was an 8-hour schedule for them. So it was their job.
Yeah, it's a full day. It sounds like you guys are somewhat of a one-stop shop if you're looking to combine train, right? Is this relatively new? Have you guys been doing combine training for a while, or is this something you've been just started?
No, we've been doing combine training for a while, but this was the first time we actually put in the whole 8-hour schedule. So we kind of, took it to the next level, if you want to say, and made it where these guys, it was their job, so it was no room for, when you left us for 8 hours, you went home and you went to sleep and you had to get your rest because tomorrow we was going to hit it again. So, this was for 3 months straight.
Wow.
From January to March.
Wow. And can you tell us some of the successes that you've had? Like when the players tested, how did they measure up to what they were expecting?
So our guys, after looking at all of their numbers, our guys, we had what I call a 90% success rate, meaning our guys performed very well. So if you took the first and second round guys, our guys' numbers went right along with them. So we had Amir Tyler, that's a D-back for Temple. He had the second highest vertical throughout the whole entire combine, throughout the country. So we talking, he jumped to 38. Yeah, he jumped to 38. So that's amazing. I think the guy that beat him, I forget what school was at, but he jumped to 40. And so our guys was right along with him. We had a D-back that hit 225 19 times. That's linebackers and lineman numbers right there. So our guys did great. We had a big guy, 6'6", something like that, 300 plus pounds. He ran a 5'3". So that's,
Wow.
5'3", 5'3", something like that. So, big boy was flying. So our numbers all the way around the board was great. We had a guy run, I think he ran a 4.44 or something like that, 4.46, somewhere around in there. So what was his name? Nigel Hill. Nigel Hill ran a 4.4, so like I said, 90% of our numbers was right there in the hunt of the top guys that was out there.
You must be pretty pleased with those results after all the hours and the regimen that you implement for these players. Are most of the athletes that you get, are they local to, because you're right outside of Philadelphia and King of Prussia, are they local to the area, or do they come from all over the country to train with you here?
Yeah, they typically come from everywhere, but this year was more home base, if you want to say. So Nigel Hill, he came from Baltimore. He came up here, got a hotel or whatever, stayed up for 3 months. But for the foremost, all the guys was home. I think we had Noah, forget Noah's last name, but he played down in North Carolina, so he come from North Carolina to come up. So these dudes they put a lot of work in. So we was excited about it. Shout out to my whole team, to my massage therapist. Can't forget these guys. Without them, none of this worked. My mobility guy Dev. Like I said, massage therapist and her team, because without them, they wouldn't be able to come back the next day and be at 100% and come back and perform at a high level like they was if it wasn't for them. To our chef, she had their meals there like clockwork. Come in every day, drop their food off, set up with the fork. Then the fork, I got a little jealous. I'm like, dang, they eating good, So they and what the thing I like about her, what she did was, she did their calorie count. If guys needed to lose weight, then she made sure the right portions was in there. They was eating protein waffles. I mean, they ate well, So it was a good camp. I was even down to our clothing line guy, scheme team. They came through. I think they had, what did they have? They had one hoodie. A dry fit type style hoodie. They had a sweatsuit. They got 2 pairs of shorts and I think 2 shirts. And they all had special combine logos and stuff on it. So it was cool. The whole thing was cool.
Yeah, that's great. What are the so you mentioned Amir Tyler and the broad jump, but what other sections, for some of our listeners, if you can expand, what areas you focus on for training? Like, what are the other sections of the combine training that you focus on?
We have what they call the 5-10-5. The 5-10-5 is basically to see how you can move laterally. So when you say 5-10-5, they mark off 10 yards, line you in the middle. Depending on what hand you are, typically that's the hand that go down. That's the direction that you're running. So if you're right-handed, you put your right hand down, you'll run 5 yards to the right, touch, go back 10 yards to the left, then come back 5 yards to the right again. So it's the 5-10-5. So then they got the L drill, which is shaped in an L, 5 yards apart again, just to see your mobility, to see your change of direction. Again, your mobility without stopping. So you'll go 5, you'll start here, start line, you'll go 5, come back 5, go around the cone 5 to loop and do an L all the way through. And a regular time is like, for skilled guys, like 7 seconds, under 7 seconds. So, I mean, you flying if you hit 6.8, 6.9, so those times are good.
Did you have anybody under 7?
Uh, I think we had a 701
Okay, that's good.
flying. We had
Yeah.
a 701 or something like that. So yeah, and we had one guy that came. He went to the HBCU combine, and where he ran, he was a wide receiver. He ran a 4.77, and I get a phone call from his agent. Hey G, can you put him in? So he was already a month in the hole. He came like the second month, or like he probably at best maybe 2 months, but I know it was like a month and a half somewhere around there. But he had 2 months, and he tests well too. So his 40 went from that 4.77 to that 4.53. So that's 0.2 of a second
Yeah,
off.
that might not sound a lot to some people, but I guess and I know that's a big difference.
A big difference.
Wow.
A big difference.
Wow.
So,
and he was with you for how long? 2 months, you said?
2 months. I'm gonna say
Wow.
2 months, but I know it was like a month and a half. But I don't want to toot my own horn and be like, oh, month and a half. Nah, I'm gonna say 2 months. His name was Quam. I can't remember his last name. But they said the Kansas City Chiefs was looking at him, and they
Really?
wanted him to run fast. So I get the phone call. They get him down there, and I think he played at Dell State, University of one of them, Delaware, one of them. But yeah, he put the work in. He paid attention, and he went out there and did his thing.
Yeah.
So
It's really amazing what you as a trainer can implement a certain regimen for some of these guys and really help improve their times, because their times are really something that helps them in their future, right? So they're trying to move to the next level and helping them earn a better position in the draft or get recognized if they're going to be undrafted and make it to NFL team. It's really important that you're shaving off a few, tenths of a second here and there for the 40, or increasing their bench or their vertical. So this is the place where we are focused on you as a trainer, and you are allowed to share some of those success stories and not feel guilty about it, because really the work that you're helping these guys and these young men put in on a daily basis, it really shows. And only being with you for a few months, that they put their faith in you, that you're going to be someone who's going to be able to help them take their game to the next level. I know one of the big names that you had last year, top of the NFL draft, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts was, I believe, the 4th overall pick by the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, and I think it was the highest paid tight end ever, the highest draft spot ever for a tight end. So, that's a major accomplishment for us. We was excited about that. I actually was down there at the combine. The funny thing is, it wasn't, we was happy that we made it, but this is what we set out. I've been training him since he was 13. So that whole seeing it at the beginning of the stage to being able to finish with him was amazing for me. I think it was more than him just being drafted 4th pick and all, but to be there at the beginning and at the end, not saying that this is the end, but actually making, to the NFL where we started from day one. So that was amazing.
And how did you initially meet Kyle? Was he just a kid in the area who came into your gym originally?
Well, yeah, something like that. His dad was I was training another kid, and you know how I go, the word of mouth. This dad told that dad to tell that dad, and then he came up, and it's just been family ever since.
That's great. So now that we've kind of hit on your combine training, what you're doing day to day recently, why don't you give everybody a little bit more understanding of your background, where you started, right? You weren't always this big time trainer with this nice facility and having massage therapists, but you started in a very interesting way. I know we talked before the show, and you told me, kind of how you started at, I believe it was George Washington High School, right? So why don't you give our listeners some understanding of where you started and how that progressed to the different, it was outside, and then it was, I believe, LA Fitness at one point. Why don't you fill everybody in on that?
Well, around 2006, I started working at George Washington High School. So at the same time, I was playing minor league football, Central Penn Piranhas at the time. So once I found out that they had a weight room, I was like, well, hell, it don't make sense for me to go pay for a gym membership when I can go right here and do it. So I went in there, and I would see the guys. I wouldn't bother them as much. I was a school police officer at George Washington High School, so I would go in there, after school and work out. So some of the guys, which by the way, Sharif Floyd was the number one D tackle in the country. He went first round. I think it was 24th pick to Minnesota Vikings. So, I got him, had a chance to train with him from ninth grade all the way up. So he was one of the kids in there, a few other the football teams. And, long story short, on that end, the coach asked me and the kids asked me would I get involved with him and help him train and all that. So, I do it, and I kind of like fell in love with it. So after that, I kind of like, seeing the big picture of it and got involved with, understanding the difference between bodybuilding and athletic training. And that come from once I really got into it, understood that I could change these guys' careers. I needed to learn more. So I would every day. At the time, they had Nike Spark, which Nike Spark was a bunch of agility drills and equipment. They had like ladders, parachutes, cones, and those things. But they had about 20-something videos on there. And again, I'm learning what athletic training is versus what I was doing was bodybuilding. So I can't be letting these guys look, I don't want to mess nobody up. So every single day for probably, I don't know, 6 months, I watched the same 20-something videos every single day. And it was almost like, it was my Bible as far as training. And I learned and it was like, I don't know, for some odd reason, every day I would get up like I never saw these videos before and watch and learn something new from each and every video. It was crazy. It was get up, come to the computer, hit it on, and just sit there. Like I never saw them for the first day. And I said, I know what to do here. Oh, I got that. So then, I started learning it and really getting into it. And for some odd reason, I always just thought big. I always thought like, I don't want to be just a local trainer. I don't want to be just, in this school training. I want to really, do this for a lifetime. So here's the thing that people don't know. So I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, be to work by 6:30. Security guard, school police officer, from 6:30 to about, let's just say 3 o'clock, the day is over. From 3 to like 5, I would train the football team. Then from 5 to like, I say around 8, I would train at LA Fitness with, my clients. This is after the time it started growing. And then I would train at 8 to LA Fitness. Then I would tail home and get online because my college that I chose was Bryan College. But for what I was looking for, it was only one was in California. So I had to get online, which was 9 o'clock our time, 6 o'clock Cali time. So now at 9 o'clock, I'm online from 9 to like 2-3:30 in the morning. And then I try to cram in an hour worth of homework and get an hour worth of sleep and then pop up and do it all over again. I did this for 4 years.
4 years? Wow. I thought you were going to say something like 6 months.
No, this went on for 4 years. Yeah, it went on for 4 years. So that was, Saturdays I had to take tests, had to write papers. So, it was, I had one professor, medical terminology 101. He tells me each month we're going to learn 10,000. He says a doctor learned 20,000 words. We're going to learn 10,000 words every month. I'm thinking I don't even know 10,000 words on a regular. So to learn, they had one word on there. This word had to use all the alphabets. I don't even know how to pronounce this word. I don't know is a Z in the middle or X down here. It had every single alphabet and it was a word. So, it taught me a lot of things. As far as the training, I pretty much was hands-on. But far as the terminology, that's what I really went to school for. So my thing was I always said, well, when I come across another professional trainer, when he starts saying words, I know what he's talking about. Instead of just looking at him with the blank face, really, I have no clue what this guy's talking about. So, it kind of helped me. It kind of made me discipline, focus, and lock in. And I'm here now. So, even with that, it was a story because you had where we started training the guys in the high school. The word got out. So it was guys so George Washington and Northeast was rivals. But Northeast weight room was nowhere near what we was doing. So the players during after the season would come to George Washington High School to train with us. And now you got Northeast High School scared we're gonna steal their players, so they started complaining and all that. So I had to move from the school to outside.
So now you can't use the school facilities at all.
I can use them, but to keep everybody from really getting nervous and thinking we're gonna steal them, I moved outside.
So you go from moving inside, you're training inside the school, so now you're strictly outside during the warmer months to start.
Everything. I know we had a heat wave one year, and I think it was 109 or something like that, and we was outside.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Yeah, it was rough. At the time, I didn't know it was rough. I just thought it was part of the game. The guys thought it was part of the game, and this is what we need to do to get to the next level. But now that you sit back, it was rough. So then, we went from that in the summertime till it started getting cold. So we went from George Washington to outside to the LA Fitnesses. No, so I had Troy Polamalu nephew, Micah Polamalu, and I'll never forget it. I told him to meet me at LA Fitness, and they was giving me a hard way to go. I got this guy dad here. I'm feeling embarrassed. They won't let me do it. So I pulled one guy to the side. I said, listen, man, let me get this, and I promise you my guys will only come to you. And then we talk and all. He said, all right, I'll let you come in. So, we came in, and then I just blew the whistle and started, I'm up here. Next thing I know, I made sure all my guys went to him to sign up for a membership. It was 32 guys in 1 month. So one day I come in, I'm like, where's such and such? Oh, he got a promotion. He went to another gym, and then I just start smiling. And I'm looking at the rest of them. That could have been y'all. All you had to do was let me in here. But see, so it was funny. There's stories in the gym in LA Fitness where we came in, and, I got 7 or 8 big guys behind me in high school. They looking like grown men. They all 200 plus pounds. And I'm like, yo, you done on that bench? We just started. I'm like, yo, you done on that bench? Here, look behind me. Yeah, we going to go over there. So we were just clearing people off the benches. We was in there for an hour, 2 hours, and then we arose. So, those was the good times. Then, I kind of thought about it like, well, dang, the parents are paying memberships and they're paying me, let's cut the middleman out and I get my own gym. And it's downhill from, just never turn back.
Yeah, I think that was the jumping off point where you realize and it kind of hit you saying, this is a sustainable business model. I already have the parents paying the memberships and I have them paying me for training. So why not go open my own gym? You don't have to deal with the headache of what you thought. Maybe somebody got fired, but he actually got promoted, right? You were giving him so much business within the span of a month that the guy who helped you out and turned a blind eye to you training inside LA Fitness actually got promoted because you gave him so much business. I thought that was interesting. So now you are at that point in your career where you go from the school to outside to LA Fitness, and the next logical step in your progression is to move into your own facility.
Yes, where I'm at now, and actually May 1st will be 10 years. So through the 2006 all the way up to 2012, I opened up the gym here at 2012. So it was a long haul, hard grind. But the crazy thing is, you think like a person will go through all of that and boom, they ready. Nah, that was just like the first wave. The second wave coming is actually learning how to run a business. Yeah. And so I first opened the gym, strictly football players. I love football. That's all I want to do. This is a home for football players. And boom, yeah, that was cool from May to second, third week of August. What I didn't take into account that all those guys went back. They went back to school. So now I'm sitting there and ain't nobody walking through these doors and I got all these bills to pay. So I had this one parent ask me, do I train lacrosse or field hockey? Yes, I do train them. I don't know anything about this, but I told her that. So, I was already in that mode of doing a lot of research. So when she, that was like on close to the weekend. So when she asked me, we could start Monday at 4:00 and that whole entire weekend, I learned everything about lacrosse. It's nothing I don't know about it. Every type of movement. They stop, changing direction, acceleration, deceleration, how much power they're going to use. I've never studied like that. And then, it went from that to golf. And I tell people, I said, listen, golf ain't what y'all think. Golf is one of the hardest sports to play. And they actually train like football players, as far as the muscles and nervous systems that they activate when they play. It's pretty much the same thing. I had one sport that I had never even heard of. A young lady come in, her and her agent come in, and they talking about water polo. Water polo? The hell is that? So she was worth $400 million. Water polo?
Wow.
I don't know what the hell water polo is. And I looked it up. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. Come on in here. Basically it's just their core. Their core got to be just super, super strong to play that type of sport.
Yeah.
So
because they have to be swimming for, how long are those games? An hour? 40 minutes, an hour? And you got to be treading water for that long. So you have to be
treading water.
A heck of an athlete.
Yeah, hit the bottom of that pool, pop back up, and just it's crazy. It's crazy. So, owning your own business is no such thing of what you won't do if you love your business. You start out something. You can start out something all you want, but let that run dry and see how fast you start to pivot and make things happen. And that's where it went from Level 40 training to Level 40 Performance Center, because now it's just not football. Now it's pretty much every sport. So basketball, football, boxing, wrestling, MMA, baseball, every sport you could think of has pretty much came through these doors.
Yeah, that's great. So I know you train a lot of professional athletes. You've started to train more collegiate athletes as well. You have some big names like some of the Philadelphia Eagles. You have Brandon Graham and Miles Sanders, Darius Slay. In the NBA, you have NBA champ, right? Kyle Lowry, you've trained him before. You have Cam Reddish, who was part of that trio at Duke and now recently traded to the New York Knicks. So you have some big time players, and then you have some college guys who are looking to make the jump to the next level. So I know you've already mentioned it and kind of already alluded to earlier in the show, but you had to expand your capabilities to be a one-stop shop for athletes, especially with combine training. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the gym expansion and what you've added recently in the last few years?
All right. So first we just had, the typical weight room, pretty much like everybody else. But like you said, when you start expanding your clientele to more pros and more collegiate athletes, especially when you jump into the combine training, you pretty much need that whole entire setup. So now we also have a massage therapist. We have a cryo machine. We have Nordatec pants. We have a nutritionist. We have a chef. Pretty much everything you can think of when it comes to, like you said, that one-stop shop. And when those pros come in, they feel comfortable that we're going to take care of their whole entire body. We even have a chiropractor, Dr. Mike. Our massage therapist, Jessica, she just, she was invited. She's so good. She was invited. They flew her out to Australia to do the women's soccer team out there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. And they invited her again to come back. So, I told her, don't get too comfortable over there. You still belong over here. But,
she must be doing something right to get the invite back, right?
Yeah. She's amazing. I haven't had one of my pros go to her and say they didn't like her. Jahad Ward, he played for the Giants now. He just came home, asked me who's there and all that, took him back there. He done been back twice already. So, she does boxing. She does, she done Danny Garcia. He's one of our boxers, great boxer. Resume speaks for itself. And now she's doing Cool Boy Steph. Another resume speaks for itself. He's the WBCO, WBO champion. I'm actually doing his fight now, and I should be leaving in about, May 13th, May 16th, something like that, for the second half of our camp. I think we're going to go down to Orlando, finish it up there, go up to Minnesota June 4th for the fight, get his victory, protect his belt, and head on back.
June 4th, yeah, you're coming into crunch time for his fight prep, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It turns up this week, so we kind of like, the thing about boxers is you got to be careful that they don't add too much mass and muscle on them because they got to make a certain weight. So he has to be in the 120s uh, for his weight class. So our training is a little bit different for him. It's more strength and power versus the actual bulk and mass. So you got to be real careful of that because those guys, they'll pack on pounds in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. Would you say that boxing is one of the harder? Maybe I don't know. This is for you, but do you think that boxing is one of the harder sports to train for just because of those restrictions around weight?
Yeah, yeah. Because I know when we train Danny Garcia, we'll do a 10-week versus an 8-week camp. We'll do a 10 to 12-week camp because he picks up weight, and he walks around big anyway. So he'll put on mass so fast that we need to put the power and strength in there and then let him cut back down in weight and still maintain that power and strength. But with Cool Boy Steph, he come in little. So we gotta kind of like tweak everything with him. So you do a lot of triphasic training, which is easily like eccentric, concentric, isometric phase training with him, where he can build all of that power and that strength without putting on the pounds. Keep him where he at. So it's about doing your homework, studying. Each one of those guys come in here. I take a peek at their film. I don't care what sport you are. I take a peek at your film and watch you play. Excuse me. I watch you play, and then I'll start picking apart of what I think you need. And then when you come in, I'll ask you, well, what we doing? What we trying to work on this year? We're building more power. We're building more strength. You want to get faster. Eye-hand coordination, your nervous system. Talk to me, and then we kind of form our program from that there.
Right. I know, where you started from, it wasn't always clear the path forward and how you're going to make that next jump to, moving out of the school into LA Fitness and then making that jump to your own facility. You've done a great job trying to diversify your business and adding on all these different, cryo and you got the chef and everything from, your active training to recovery to nutrition. You've started to cover all the bases that you need to be a one-stop shop. Now you look back on it, right? You've had some time to reflect on where you've come at this point. Every trainer has goals of how they want their gym to look when they start. They might take like an Exos or some of these other gyms as an example in their head. Is this always what you envisioned your gym to be at this point, or did you envision a little bit different when you first started?
No, when I first started, it was the marble floors and the chandeliers and the Exos and all the wow, and I need all of this. And quickly I came out of that. I talked to an older guy, and it was stay small and get it all. The hell he mean by that? But then what he mean is you stay small so you don't have a crazy overhead. So them overheads is what kills people and they don't understand. No, it became my second or third years. Oh, I got to get my bigger gym, and I want this and I want that. And, I would think I went to 2 years of that. And then when it, kind of all settled down, I understood I don't have to do all of that. To actually, I got caught up with the sun, down in Miami, over in California, and everything that them guys got going over there, that you're almost get so caught up in that, and you'll really forget what you have. And we call this, this blue collar work over here. If you're not ready for no blue collar work, do not come through those doors. We that guy that been in that mine for 22 hours and came out with one diamond. That's us.
That's a great way to sum it. It sounds like a gym that would be from Philadelphia.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It sounds like the perfect gym to fit some of these players that you're training.
Yeah. You're looking for that gritty and that grimy work where we don't care about your feelings, we just care about results, then this is the place. If you're looking to be pampered, then please do not come through them doors, because we're going to let you know you're in the wrong place.
That's great. That leads me kind of my next point is you're talking to the type of athletes that you train. They're gritty, they're hard workers. Do you find it hard to motivate players, or would you say that most of them, because it is their job to move to the next level or stay at the top of their game, are they easy to say self-motivated?
For the far most, it's their dream, it's their passion. So they're motivated already when they come through the doors. What I do and my team do, we just push when they get past that. So if we're on a scale of 1 to 10, they're going to work hard to 8. Well, we're going to take a push to 10. That's what we do. We get them to the point where they not comfortable with just being comfortable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or just coming in the weight room saying I worked out, I sweat, now I'm gonna go home. We make them understand this is your job, this is your livelihood. You need to give us 1,000% every time you walk through that door. So everybody always say 110, 120%. That's normal now. Everybody's doing that. How do we separate ourselves from everybody else? Well, you need to leave feeling like you dead, and then be able to come back tomorrow and do the same exact thing over and over and over. So when you do that, and plus all the screaming and yelling I'm doing at you, when you get down on the field, the basketball court, the first thing pop up in your mind is me. I don't feel like hearing his mouth. All this time, there's no way one man is going to stop me after all this crap he just put me through. You know what I mean? So it kind of like start to mold you as a ball player like they could tell when you've been around. They say, no, he been around G too long. Look how he talk. Look how he act. It's just a different swag. I promote arrogance. I promote cockiness. When I'm on the court, when I'm off the court, when I'm not performing, I'm humble. I always let people tell me how good I am. And that's what I put on my athletes. Oh, no, when we get out there in the basketball court, you best believe, if I play a 5-year-old girl right now and she shoot, I'm going to punch that shit all the way across the other side of the court. And then I'm going to get in her face and let her know it won't happen here. Ain't no easy wins. I want 100-0 all day long.
I think it's important for a lot of these athletes to help. I mean, they're young college kids. A lot of these guys are training for the combine, and to instill those values and teach them not only how to train, but you spend so much time with some of these athletes that instilling some of those values of how to act both in their respective sports and then off the field or off the court is really, really, you're almost like a mentor for them in a lot of ways, not just training. I know when I came to visit, so myself, my co-founder, Pete LaJoy, and then we had a video guy as well come with us, Abby Warren. And what we came to find out is that, one, everybody's half asleep at the early session, right? So I think we came for, it was 6:30 or 7 in the morning. Every athlete, no matter, right? It's not a knock on anybody else. Everybody's half asleep. All of us were half asleep. But when we're talking about values and how to act humble off the field, there's no better player that comes to mind to me than Brandon Graham of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know he's been one of your long-term clients that you've been training for a number of years now. And it really hit me. He's always been one of my favorite athletes. He is now definitely my favorite Philadelphia athlete of all time. Also should mention, now that Claude Giroux of the Flyers has been traded, he is now the longest tenured Philadelphia athlete as we speak. So I think he's been there 12 or 13 years at this point. And he's had a great career, obviously, in the Super Bowl, showed up in some of the biggest moments, strip sack, sealed the game for them. And it's great to talk with you, somebody who trains him and knows him on a very personal level. When he first walked in that gym at maybe 6:45 in the morning, every athlete walks by us, they're half asleep, not a knock on them. But Brandon Graham, big smile on his face, always how you see him kind of, out in the news. You don't know if that's really how he is out of the spotlight. Same guy you see on the camera. He's coming up to 3 guys he's never met before, myself and my partner and our video guy. And he introduced, shook each of our hands and said, "Hey, I'm Brandon. How are you? Hey, I'm Brandon. How are you?" And that resonated with myself and everybody else I was with, and saying, what a nice guy. He seems extremely genuine. And I know you can talk to Brandon's personality, and he kind of rubs off on everybody who trains with and everybody he's around. Obviously, that's a reason why he's such a great leader and been there for so long.
This is probably the happiest person I know on the planet. Like, I've never seen anybody just always happy. It even make me look at things different. So he had his little injury with the ankle or whatever, and I talked to him that day, And when I talked to him, he was so excited, like, man, I can't wait to get back in the weight room. And next year, I'm going to show them. And I missed the game. What? Do you know what just happened? Dude, we just had 3 months of hard training. And you sitting here telling me, dude, he does. I've never seen a person that happy in my life. Like I said, he's a genuine, caring person. He just had his birthday and he invited about, I don't know, I think it was nine of his closest people that he wanted there to celebrate that day. So that meant a lot to me. And he's greeting me happy there. I didn't know if it was my birthday or his birthday. I couldn't tell. He was so excited about, he just excited about life. His the whole family, his wife, Carla, she actually trains with my manager. He does the fitness training. So the whole family is here. So Carla, she it's called Carla Circle. We tease them all the time because she comes, my manager's gone. He runs to her, he makes sure he take care of her. They got a little community that they got going on as far as training. So the whole family is like that. When you get around him, any problem that you think you have is pretty much is forgotten because he done laugh and just smiling, and the energy that he gives is just so amazing, and it's real. It's not for television. If anybody gonna see this video, Brandon Graham is like that all the time. So it's not a show. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah, I found that very quickly. What a great person to be around. Moving, I guess, kind of to wrap up here, but future plans, right? We've talked about the combine a lot. I know you mentioned to me, now that you have in your all these different facilities and all these different areas of your gym, what is your next step as far as future plans? Is it mastering the combine? Is it bringing on more professional athletes, collegiate athletes? What are your future plans at this point?
My future plan is to be the top trainer on the East Coast. That was the number one goal, future plan from day one. So it was my goals are and is to be the top trainer on the East Coast. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm a master, and and then that was the long term goal. Then it was the short term goals. Was the first one was I need everybody in the public school district to know who we are, and it was the Catholic, and then it was the charters, and then it was the tri-state area, and then it just now we all over the place. So combine training is where I see me at. It's my exit plan. It's my exit plan. I let these guys handle everything. I come in, train my pros, and I'm gone. But combine is definitely where I think I want to sink my teeth into and anchor down and really get the guys ready for the next level. Because is what I found. Some guys become just a number, and some guys become just dollar signs. Where if you're not that top guy, then you're not going to reach that top trainer. So if you're not a first rounder, second rounder, you're not going to see the head guy. Excuse me. Where I don't think that's right. If I'm paying my money, I should see the top guy. Where we different, we don't care what your level of going to the next level is. Everybody get treated like a first rounder. And I expressed that to my whole team. There's no such thing as a fifth rounder. There's no such thing as seventh rounder or, priority free agent. All these guys are getting treated as if they're first rounds. Why? Because they're never going to get this experience back. So for me to try to shorten that and treat them according to how they're going to get drafted, that's not fair. This is something major. It's almost like your senior graduation. You're never going to get that feeling back. You can go to college and graduate, but high school graduation, you never forget it. Is one of the proudest moments of your life. And that's what I feel like, guys going to the league or trying to get there, you're never going to get that feeling back. So I want to treat all my guys like first rounders. So yeah, I'm sinking my teeth into that and anchoring down on that more and more. Like, I was so excited about this combine that when it was over, I had already started prepping for next year. Already.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I already started.
It never stops.
No, it never stops. It never stops. So we thought we was going to get a little vacation, 2-week window, but boxing, Cool Boy Steph, it's so funny. He called the very next day after combine was done. So we had to shift from doing all that speed work and all the 225, the vertical, the broad, the 510, 5, we had to shift from that to go straight to boxing. So we haven't had a break yet. We've been rocking. We probably won't get a break. Honestly, we'll run probably from December all the way around to like maybe September before we actually get to really breathe and take a break.
Yeah, it's nonstop for you guys. Is there any trainer? I know you mentioned me before the show. Is there any trainer that you've kind of modeled or gained some inspiration from as far as the way that they do business with their athletes?
Yes, Pete Bomarito. He might not remember me, but I had a chance to go down there and actually see what it is that he do. And the crazy thing is, I talked to him, and Pete is a really, really intelligent guy. So smart. I had to tell Pete, you got to stop with all these words. Come down a little bit. Talk to me like I'm an athlete. Keep it just dumb as ever. Just keep it plain where I can understand it. If you mean shoulder, say shoulder. You ain't got to say anterior delt, posterior delt. You don't need to say none of that. So talking to him, it kind of made me feel good because here's a person that, obviously I look up to, the way, I love his energy and the way that he break things down and how he pay attention to the tiniest details, similar to, the same way that we do. And talking to him, it kind of reassured me that I was on the right track. We got a chance to talk about Olympic lifts. So I said, well, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about Olympic lifts? Oh, we don't do that. I said, man, me neither. And then that's when we started conversing back and forth about the training styles. So being with him, it also kind of helped me understand the business and adding more things. So while we was down there, I'm talking to him, and this lady run past us. She zipped back past again, and I'm trying to hear what he's talking about, but it's hard to pay attention when this lady keep running back and forth. And she zipped past, and she zipped past again. And then she ran up to Pete. You want hydration or you want protein? He said hydration. And she took off again. So I'm sitting there like thinking to myself, like, what the hell are they talking about? What is she doing right now? She came back with a smoothie with his name on it that had hydration. So now I'm putting two and two together. When she was running back and forth, she was getting people their protein shakes, their smoothies. So some had protein, some had hydration. Whatever the body was lacking, they would put it in the protein. They would put it in the smoothie and give it to them.
And everything's personalized to the specific athlete.
Yes. And now, when I left, I even did more research on Pete Bomarito and really started looking at the food, the stretching, the recovery, and this and that, the vitamins. And I'm looking at everything that he's doing. I'm like, oh, damn, I just was bodybuilding. Care what nobody tell me. When I look at them, he's building an athlete. So I kind of like stepped back and really started doing more research. So now where we was just working out, now my science is starting to kick into it. Now I'm working about the nervous system. I'm working at, the tiny muscles, the tiny tendons. You make them strong to support the big ones, so the primary muscles, secondary muscles. I'm looking at all these things now, how to actually build an athlete from the ground up, even to the point where I make them take their shoes off, The feet got 1,000 tiny tendons on the bottom of it. So first of all, humans was never supposed to wear shoes anyway. But when they made our feet are supposed to be like this wide, our toes, the spaces between the toes are like that. When we wear the sneaks, it does this. So when we do that, all the tiny sensors on the bottom on the foot doesn't get activated because you have the sole of the shoe, then the insole, then the sock, then the foot. So when it's cramped like that, you can't get your pinky toe to press off. So we took the shoes off, and now you got that 3 points, that big toe, pinky toe, and the heel. Now we solid. So dealing with Pete made me open my brain and really understand how the body moves and operate. And that's what, looking up to him and actually getting to meeting him, that was a crazy thing.
Yeah, that's great hearing how somebody like Pete Bomarito, who is, a great trainer in his own right, and how he's a mentor to others without even really knowing it at times, right? Obviously he has a lot of athletes and trainers he connects with, but somebody like yourself, he rubbed off and left a lasting impression on you, and you really started to model the way you train after just going and visiting his gym.
Yeah, it opened my brain up to understanding just because you sling weight around, that doesn't make you athletic. It just make you strong. And excuse me, watching him operate, going to his weight room and, going upstairs and watching the people that he have on the table and all the specialists working on the and working on the muscles and all that. The business side started kicking in and understanding, oh, this is a performance center, not a training facility. And, it just opened my eyes. And then there's other trainers that I looked at. There's a guy by the name of Kyle Dietz who pretty much invented triphasic training. You got Chris Barnyard over there at OTA. He's really good. But Pete is the one that really opened my eyes to understand what not only running a business is about, but how to build an athlete. So
that's great. So I know throughout your progression as a trainer, and like all other trainers, you have these eye-opening moments where you decide, man, like things just click for you, and you decide this is the time to pivot and make that jump or take that leap of faith and move to the next step in my business. Or always, you always had this dream of expanding. Now it's time to actually put that into action. So to wrap up, last question I like to ask everybody this is, what advice would you give to yourself starting out if you could go back in time? And if so, what would you change, if anything?
I wouldn't change anything. I needed to learn these things to where I'm at now. I can appreciate it and understand it, why I am where I am in my career. In the beginning, just learning how to handle money. The money came in so fast, it was going in one pocket, going out the other pocket. And then you look up, oh, damn, it's time to pay bills this month. That it taught me how to now every time I get money, put that money in the Dropbox, do not touch it, because you can't see how much you accumulate throughout the month to be able to pay your bills. So it went from putting it in the Dropbox to depositing it every Friday. And it teaches me how to actually pay my bills, put everything in order. Well, you got to pay the mortgage here. You got to pay this, you got to pay that. So, that there was a time where I would put money in the bank and, I put a $2,700 check in the bank. Monday, Tuesday morning, you wake up, it's minus $34. You calling everybody thinking somebody robbed you, but you forgot that you took and let this get snatched out the account, let this get, automated, taking the money out. That whole entire week. And then, Tuesday night, I put a $400 check in. The next day is minus. And it went all the way down to Friday where I actually balanced out that zero. And I said, damn, this is what a business owner is. I said, they had me up against the rope, but I ain't fold, and I'm really a businessman, so I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change anything, like I said, now for 7 years, 7 years strong, no vacations, working on holidays, every Christmas we had, it was a thing of ours to get 18 guys Christmas morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, from 8 to 10, every Christmas morning for 7 years straight, never missed a day. We even had female volleyball players. We had everything out there. It was our thing, to now. I haven't worked Christmas in 3 years, 2 years. I'm enjoying life. I can appreciate everything that I went through to where I am now. Even what I drive is different now. So it's just, so everything is different. I appreciate it. God has blessed me. I can't even begin to tell you how blessed I am. It's not one professional athlete can tell you that I stalked them, I called them, and I ran after them. I didn't do any of that. I'm finally going to games now. Before I didn't go to no games. I didn't watch nobody play. I just was work. My manager used to tell me, dude, are you going to celebrate anything? I celebrated in that moment. Now it's time for the next thing. I didn't want to be, what my fear was? I didn't want to be one of the trainers that got one professional athlete, and now 10 years later, I'm still talking about that one professional athlete. I didn't want to be the trainer that always telling somebody I'm going to get my gym and I'm still training outside. I ain't want to be that. I ain't want to be that trainer that, stayed with the same program for many years. So I always had to study, always had to learn. I always pride myself off of being ready for whoever came through that door. If my guys were supposed to be here at 11 o'clock, I'm here at 10 o'clock. So they know that the lights are on, the music is playing, we come in here ready to work. I didn't want to be just an average trainer that was going to fizzle out, So when I'm done, he was about his business. He made sure everybody was right when they came through those doors. So that's who I am.
That's great. It speaks to your discipline, not only as a trainer, but you as a person, right? Your discipline. I love to hear that you really embrace the journey, and you learned a lot along the way, and you wouldn't change anything about it. I think that speaks to you as a person, and it obviously is somebody, or you're someone who rubs off on the people that you train, and that's why you have such a successful business model, is because yes, they're coming to train and stay at the top of the game, but they're also coming for you and your staff, and you've created a culture that is one where athletes come and hope to take their game to the next level. So thank you again for coming on. I think this was a great to get some background. And, we hope to hear, hopefully in the next couple of years, where you've taken it from here. Thanks again, Greg.
Thanks for having me, man. This was a blast. It was exciting. And if you need me again, hit me up.